for those of you listening on the pod.
Welcome into hour 2. All right, let's talk coordinators here, guys. Third down. Will the loss of offensive coordinator Ben Johnson matter given the team's talent and pass scoring leadership? Guys, they were arguably the best offense in the entire National Football League last year, right? So Ben Johnson's replacement is John Morton, okay? Lions offense should be fine. New coordinator John Morton isn't planning major changes. Offensive coordinator John Morton was with the Lions in 2022 when Johnson installed the offense, so he has the rapport with Jared Goff. Talent level helps any coordinator. Expect some early ups and downs, but overall solidity in 2025. So this is insinuating, hey, no big worry there. Listen, he's still not Ben Johnson, right? If it was as easy as, well, it's just the scheme, you can put any coordinator, any play caller in there and have the same success, you would have a lot more of that across the league. There's a reason why there's certain coaches like your Vic Fangio's now in Philadelphia. You know, he got his name ran through the mud when he was the head coach at Denver. Then he pops back out and he's right back on top, gets a Super Bowl ring being a defensive coordinator. Some guys are just cut from the cloth of being a coordinator, Emilio, right? And they're really, really successful at it. So I kind of disagree with this take here that no, it'll be fine because John Morton has some rapport there. I think they will have a slight setback. The question is how much, right?
Yeah, there's somewhat of a difference. He's not the same person, right? So you can't take it as I feel like you can kind of take it as, all right, I have a general understanding of where they want to go. You probably know like 60% of what they're wanting to do. Just because, one, it's an unknown, so you're 50-50 with that. And then, two, the guy hasn't, called a game for the Lions. Let's see what happens when it kind of really gets out there and feet to the fire. But it's not going to be the same. He might not have the same idea. He might not think of the same trick play or whatever, whatever they're trying to do. You might get away from that. He might lean on the run a little bit more. There could be a percentage of a tendency difference in his brain versus Mr. Chicago Bear now. So I really do want to see what they kind of do. I think they're going to lean on the run, though. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I would think so. At least maybe early going. And, not making major changes is one thing. So you're going to see similarities, like you said, maybe like 60% of, maybe even, I don't know, maybe even
65%.
65%. That's what
something like that. You never know. But bottom line, we know that whether it's the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball, Detroit's kind of got a way about how they approach games, especially divisional games on the road. They've been a thorn in our ass for the last 3 years. So I think we're as ready as we can be, considering that they've got new coordinators on both sides of the ball for sure.
Xavier Worthy, wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, walk into the locker room with a towel on his head with trainers. So it sounds like
him and Travis Kelce Travis Kelce basically took him out on a mesh concept and just blew his shoulder. I'm pretty sure he dislocated his shoulder. I think they tried to pop it in back on the field and then
Gotcha.
And then
the Chargers are now inside the 10 as Justin Herbert taking them right down the field. All right, so let's move along to defensive coordinator. All right, fourth down. Concerns about the defense after losing coordinator Aaron Glenn and changes under new coordinator Kelvin Shepard. Shepard is a disciple of Glenn. So defense identity remains similar, but more aggressive per player feedback from camp. So it sounds like he's going to dial up a little more pressure maybe than Aaron Glenn did. And again, that's just coming out of camp. Who knows if there's truth there, right? Shepard appears ready for the first-year coordinator challenge. Last year's injuries were severe, straining depth. Defense should be solid if healthy, but may struggle with injuries against a first-place schedule. A whole different ballgame, right, when you're playing all those first-place teams this year. So really, really interesting to see how Kelvin Shepard adapts to being the defensive coordinator. What do you guys think about that? Do you think they'll take a slight step back? Yeah, hell, he may be better. You never know, right? And the fact that they're looking to dial up more pressure, that kind of throws the playbook out the window from you watching the tape from last year and saying, here's what they did well, because if they're going to change that up, you might be stepping into a trap there,
That's what any good coordinator is going to try and do, right? Just like Hafley was talking about, there's going to be some things that might look familiar, but we're always going to try and be different and be creative and find ways to reinvent ourselves. Like you always say, Clay, there's only so much you can do out here. This game is over 100 years old, and a lot of these guys have been around it their entire lives. It's hard to keep that deception, especially against a divisional opponent that you play twice a year, right? Sometimes 3 times a year. But I would think with him being a Glenn disciple that there would be some consistency there, probably especially with I don't know what their defensive attitude and approach. We know they like to play heavy man. We know they like to dial up pressure, these kinds of things. So it's not necessarily them doing different things, but just doing those things differently, if that makes any sense, I guess. So that's where I'm at.
Emilio?
You never know. Different guy, different tendencies again. But you hope that, our Matt LaFleur kind of knows what they're going to do, already has a plan on, what he's going to do to beat 2, 3, 4, 6, blitz, all that stuff. I think you got Jordan Love out there. You know that you can give him access to all the audibles, and he can put us in a good position. I feel like even doesn't matter what personnel we have out there, Jordan Love can get us into a good look. Hat count in the box, if they're playing close, all that stuff. So right now, not too worried about it. I think we'll see after this, but it's a perfect opportunity to go 1-0 in the division and on your record and everything against, quote unquote, the boogie monster for us past couple of years, just because they've had our number. But that doesn't mean that they have this team's number, right? This is a different set of guys, different year, everything. And I think that we got a good shot.
Great. Justin Herbert, touchdown pass. They lead now 7-0 in Sao Paulo. So they take the early lead. Also got a little cheap shot from Carl Loftus that drew a rough in the passer call. I guess they'll tack that penalty onto the kickoff here in the ensuing kickoff. So a little update for what's going on in the live game here this evening. I thought this question was interesting. J. Cole says, man coverage, Love has to use his legs this game. That's the thing we kind of talked about when it comes to Detroit. If we break down the coverage they ran last year, Detroit played 37% cover one man. Now, it doesn't specify if there's a robber or a hole there. So if you've got a robber or a hole, that can act as a spy. So it's not as easy against cover one man if they're playing cover one hole, or some people call it cover one drop, where the linebacker will drop underneath in a hook curl, or if you play robber, where one of the safeties will buzz down and play the hook curl. They've got eyes on the quarterback. It might as well be a spot. It's hard to run against that unless you get out on the edge, and now you make them leave their spot, and now you've got to throw back across your body, late over the middle, big no-no, but that's how you can, they've got to make a decision there. So now if they go to more two-man under, stuff like that, that's where you're looking to scramble for sure. So I don't think it's as easy as up there in man covers, just run the rock. But if they are playing straight cover one man and rushing 5 as opposed to playing a drop or a robber concept, then that's where you're going to want to see Jordan Love get out there on the edge and use his legs. And Tim, I honestly think there's a decent chance that Love uses his legs a lot this year. I think I heard somebody say, I can't remember which show it was earlier today, said the over-under on Jordan Love's rushing yards in this game, 4 yards. I'm taking the over.
Smash the over on that.
Definitely.
For sure. And I agree with that sentiment, but we have to remember, he's not Lamar. He's not Jalen Hurts. Yeah. He's not that guy, nor do I think we want him to be in what we're trying to do offensively. But him being more mobile, being willing to diagnose that play, if it breaks down, step up, step out, get out of there, tuck it and run. I love that. A little bit more aggressive with his feet. That's going to help. And then, especially on Sunday, if Detroit wants to man up a lot, we should be running the football, and we should be getting mobile, stretching that pocket if we have to, I think, and extending the play, which we know Jordan can do. He's capable of the off-platform, throwing on the run, that sort of thing, giving him the pump fake until he gets to the line of scrimmage, then tucking and running, just being a football player. And I really do. I think we'll see that this year from J Money. Coach
Lynn says Love and Herbert resemble one another to me. I can see that comp too, Coach, because I think Herbert might be a little more of an athlete than Love personally, but they play very similarly. Like, they use their legs to create second windows to make plays down the field, as opposed to using their legs to just scramble, right? Yeah. So I can see the comp there for sure. Coach Lynn says smash the over. Holmes agrees with that. What do you think, Emilio, with Jordan Love getting out there scrambling a little bit? Obviously, get your butt on the ground when you get all the yards you can get, right? Top row.
Yeah. Take it easy on the knee. Don't need to be throwing your shoulder to get a spark for the team. I love that he has that mentality, but I just don't need it this week. I do think Matt's going to try to move his throwing platform, move him left and right, get him on a sprint out, get him on a naked boot, something like that you can get an open look, or you just have a really easy dump off to the flat. But that also keeps that defense. You're trying to get away from Aiden Hutchinson. If you can, kind of force him on an inside rush, all right, dip him underneath, and Love's booting out around him. So there's probably a lot that Matt can get to with that. But again, I think we're going to try to, stretch him horizontally, work him side to side, and then we can sort of get those chunks upfield with his legs. I think that helps us all the more, just because they have to account for him.
Yeah. Daryl in the chat says, I'm not focused on today's game since it ain't Lions Packers. I don't care about the Chiefs and the Chargers. Can't wait to watch the Lions and the Packers on Sunday. Amen, Daryl. Amen. I think they're saying 65 degrees, 9-mile-an-hour wind. Tim, that's
65%.
65%. That's what we didn't even think about that, but that's God going, a little bit of perfect football weather. There you go. Take that.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome day for football. It was kind of weird, towards the end of August, these last 7 to 10 days, it's like somebody flipped a switch and summer disappeared and fall is here. It's cool. It's chipper. It's crisp, but beautiful during the day, cool at night. Perfect time for an afternoon kickoff for sure on Sunday.
No doubt about it. All right, let's jump into some Micah Parsons talk here. Again, you can find this write-up over on our Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Anybody who's a member in there will be entered into random giveaways throughout the year. Just another way for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel. $3 tier gets you access to everything, including entered into some cool little games, giveaways, stuff like that. Just a way, like I said, to give back. So patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Let's jump into it. So as the smoke kind of settles here, guys, on the Micah Parsons stuff, I thought let's just do a quick little recap, right? Let's just go back through what we learned about Micah Parsons. I want to get your all's take on it, and we'll try to stop in between each little section here and see what you guys think. So Parsons' background and stats. Micah Parsons led the NFL with 330 pressures since entering the league in 2021 per True Media, tied with Max Crosby for most total pressures, and leads regular pass rushers with a 20.3% pressure rate per Pro Football Focus. He was a stand-up linebacker at Penn State, but has excelled as an edge rusher in the NFL. You guys know he played a lot more stack backer than pass rusher his rookie year. Then they converted him to edge rusher. Injury availability. Parsons suffered a back injury this summer while lifting as a Dallas Cowboy, limiting him in practices on September 3rd and 4th, 2025. No definitive confirmation on playing Sunday, but if he does, he'll likely be on a snap count to ensure longevity for an 18-week season with a potential playoff run. Rob Demovsky had tweeted this out. Thought this was really cool. Said Packers defensive line coach DeMarcus Covington said he spent, quote, a good amount of time with Micah Parsons this week. Quote, his impression, quote, smart guy, loves ball, high football IQ, unbelievable talent. How many times are we going to hear that, guys? We heard Coach Zimmer talk about it in Dallas, right? Like they went, I think Matt Schneidman might have went and interviewed him. Somebody, it might have been Bill Huber. Someone interviewed former DC of the Dallas Cowboys, like Micah is an extremely intelligent football player. And now you're hearing DeMarcus Covington talk about it as well. We know he's a physical beast. We know he's agile as a freaking, I'm going to say cougar. And all of a sudden Jacob's going to pop up in there, right? And just magically you'll hear the bloop. But, yeah, so what do y'all think about what Covington said here, man? You hear it from 2, 3, 4 different sources that Micah is an extremely smart player. That's really, really exciting.
Recognized real, man. Smart guy, loves ball, high football IQ, unbelievable talent. I mean, that's DeMarcus Covington too. He's been an absolute blessing with this D-line group. And we saw it during camp. He was pulling Rashawn and doing a lot of one-on-one work with Rashawn and LVN off to the side. And so it doesn't surprise me that he spent a lot of one-on-one directly with Micah, apparently getting to know him and understand his approach to the game. So that's probably the best thing any coach or scout could say about any player in the league, right? Smart, loves ball, high football IQ, unbelievably talented. I mean, he's a monster, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just happy for Covington, the fact that maybe he lost a first-round pick in Kenny, but you still get another first-round pick that he's never had his hands on these first-round picks up front here.
Yeah.
Having that kind of talent all sitting right in front of you that has to be a good thing for him. He's got to have some sort of drive when he gets to work, like, okay, we can do something with just 4 of these guys this year. Something we weren't able to do last year with our front 4 pressure. We can do it with just the 4. We are going to be in business this year.
I think about the other guys in the edge group too, like Mosby and, I think of our boy Inigbare, even LVN, like just the opportunity to play behind guys like Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. I mean, we're going to see the full depth of this group get better and better throughout the year. I really believe it.
Yeah. All right. Moving along. Defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley's approach. Hafley has studied years of Parsons tape. He mentioned that earlier this week at a presser, including all 330 pressures, but is tempering expectations due to Parsons' short time with the team, obviously less than a week, focusing on limited reps initially to assess what Parsons can do best right now, with more complex schemes planned for when he's fully ramped up. Rob Demovsky tweeted out, Packers defensive pass game coordinator Derek Ansley on what Micah Parsons does. Quote, he's a game accelerator. He speeds everything up, run or pass. Man, when you get a guy that plays as fast as him, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Do we know of another defensive end, another edge defender that ran a 4.3 40? I can't think of another one. Like, I remember like back in the day, the Javon Curses, right? That he was known as the Freak in Tennessee. I think he ran like a 4.45 or something. This is the first time I've ever known of an edge defender to run a 4.3 40.
Yeah, I was going to say the only one that might be close is this guy that wore the same jersey, right, Abdul? But I don't think he's that twitched up as Micah is. So, no, not at 4.3.
So when you're talking about he's a game accelerator, he speeds everything up. That's one thing that's going to help. I love the way Goody approached this, Tim. And isn't it funny? Again, I didn't invent this mindset or this thought process, okay? When we talk about positions of importance, right, I caught a lot of hell. It was roughly 2 years ago. It was about 2 years ago. People were like, the fact that you don't think cornerback is that important, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I'm just telling you. Look at how the money's spent. Look at the successful teams and watch how they build a roster. Doesn't mean they don't have cornerbacks. Doesn't mean they don't prioritize them. But they make sure 3-tech, edge defender on defense before anything else, right? And all of a sudden, people were talking, man, is this cornerback room going to be good enough? Are they going to be good enough? I'll tell you a way you can make them good enough, Tim. Go add a pass rusher like that, right?
Absolutely. Generational talent, right? I mean, we've talked about it. This is going to be a game changer for us. And, Coach Ansley, as we're all watching the Chargers here playing, let's not forget what he did out there in L.A., and the experience that he has. So he understands what he's looking at here. And, being the passing game coordinator for the defense, I think he's going to be really, really interested to see how he's going to be able to get creative, with his calls and his looks now that we have Micah out there. As we progress through, hopefully we'll see more and more reps from him each game here early in the season.
Yeah, Coach Lynn was asking Von Miller maybe ran a 4.3 40. Von Miller was twitched up, boy. He's passed off the edge. 4.49 was his 40. So just to kind of put that into perspective, pretty wild. Emilio, you got anything else to add to the speed here of Micah before we move along, man? Anything else?
No, I'm ready to see it in game in the green and gold.
Definitely. Integration.
Get over here.
Belt to ass. BTA. Know what I'm saying?
Integration. I know it, man. We're gonna be doing that on Sunday. All right. Post game show. If the Packers do pull out a win against the Lions, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get in here and cross it all up, right? Got to do it. Integration process. The Packers aren't overloading Parsons with information amid his injury. Coaches hold extra meetings, stay late, come in early, and work on off days. Parsons has learned about 80%, I repeat, 80% of the defense so far, and praises coaches for their support. Hafley asked for Parsons' preferred plays, and Parsons wants everything at once, describing himself as hungry and eager to, quote, load the plate all at once. So he's saying, give me more, and Hafley's going, slow down there, young whippersnapper. Let's try to bring it along in stages. That's a great sign on both fronts. I love that Hafley isn't trying to force feed too much, and I love that Micah is trying to get all the information he can, man. That's just absolutely all. I know Cowboy fans will lead you to believe that he doesn't love football, he's a bad teammate, all that stuff, but obviously you're hearing totally the opposite here. When you look at the people –
that's what you'd want the world to think, right, if you wanted to keep your guy. Yeah. They had us going for a little bit there. Sorry.
Yeah. If you want to keep your integrity, too, as an organization, knowing that you just didn't trade that dude away. And that's the other thing, like, looking at that game last night, every time you see Jalen Hurts scramble, Every time you seen Jalen Hurts just sitting in the pocket, the best one was, I got to find it for you guys. Pack Daddy, Ryan Schlipp put a tweet out, and it was absolutely hilarious, man. Someone had tweeted out about the Cowboys pass rush. Let me see if I can get this on the screen real quick, because this cracked me up, man. His response was just perfect. Yeah, here we go. We got it. All right, so a Dallas Cowboy fan says, how on earth do we let Hurts have 10 years in the pocket every snap, right? And literally, this is the first game after they traded Micah Parsons, right? This was Pack Daddy's response. Pretty sure we got an idea of why he had 10 years in the pocket there, Bubs. So I'm just saying. I thought that was pretty darn interesting. So, again, Cowboy fans looked up last night and seen what it was like to not have a true pass rusher, right? And you've seen Hurts sitting in the pocket, right? You've seen him in the pocket the entire time, and then you've seen him able to scramble. They were playing some match principles. Might have been a little bit of red two inside the red zone, but for those of you who don't know what match is, essentially what you're talking about is it starts off as zone, and it's if and then. If the 3 enters my zone and goes vertical, then it becomes man coverage. If the 2 breaks on an out route, then it becomes man coverage. There's all different types of different match calls. So essentially, match starts off as zone, ends up in man, and that's what was happening. Now, if you don't have time for that to develop and turn into man, so your mobile quarterback can scramble, it don't matter. Jalen Hurts had all the time in the world last night, and it's obvious they're missing Micah Parsons here. PFF grades starting in 2021 at 89.8, 91.6, 92.7, and a 90.0 last year, with the pass rush grades each year starting in 21 at a 93, 92, 93, 91. So there's the answer to the question that the Cowboy fan was asking. Versatile usage plans. Hafley plans to use Parsons like a queen in chess, moving him around for maximum impact. In 2023, Parsons had 17 alignments. Tim, I repeat, in 2023, he aligned up in 17 different spots, most frequently at left/right outside linebacker and left defensive end, plus 78 snaps at inside/middle linebacker. He can win rushes with speed, power, inside moves, and against various linemen, including tackles, guards, and centers, pretty much anybody across the line. Hafley's excitement. Hafley describes Parsons as amazing for his versatility and highlights his mind race with ideas last week, his being Hafley's, but he's downplaying hype for now, saving drawings of schemes for later. Impact on the offensive game plan. Offensive coordinator Adam Stenovich notes Parsons requires constant accounting in run and pass games. So not just pass rush, but the running game as well. Adjusting protections and calls, adding significant time to game plans due to his positional flexibility. Tim, Milio, the thought of him coming out, mugging the A-gap, and them setting the protection, right? And then all of a sudden, as they set the protection, they come up, they check to this, they check to that, they're resetting the protection. All of a sudden, he bounces out to a 5-tech. Everything they just did pre-snap, you've seen it, Emilio. Yep. You're over there on Madden 26 going hot route. They audible, and you go, crap, let's just snap.
And you're running out of time. That play clock's still ticking down. You got 5 seconds. You can't hot route anymore. You can't audible anymore. You're SOL. You got to snap that thing. But you're right. You can move Micah everywhere. And that's what I want Hafley to dive into right now. He's probably just going to run him at edges, flip him. I think he can play both edges right now, no issue. Probably go inside if he needed to. But some of those coffee house double mug looks, a load look, a load mug look, any of those, I'm totally happy with moving Micah around because it makes them having to prepare for it more. But we've talked about kind of delaying that. Like, let's start getting to that maybe week 5, week 6, and then something else week 7, week 8. You don't need to bring it all out right away. So that's I think Michael had.
I agree. I think there's a certain amount of time, no matter how high your football IQ is, that if you're in a new place, new faces, new coaches, new teammates, it's going to take you a while to kind of get a grasp. The fact that he's already 80% of the way there should make us all even more excited than we already are. And I think it says a lot about Coach Hafley being willing to kind of save some stuff off the table for now until he gets more acclimated and comfortable in this scheme. But the nice part is Micah is no stranger to being moved around a lot. Now he's just going to be in a system where I think we're going to, if anyone can use him perfectly, it's going to be Jeff Hafley for sure. And like I said, our secondary has got to feel really good right now because their job is going to get a whole hell of a lot easier this year, I think, with the play that we have up front and in the middle for sure. Yeah.
Completely agree. Chris the Casual Win says, I just love this show and y'all smarter fans. Seriously, it's fresh air under my sails. I do love the fact that everybody who watches this show jumping in the chat, man. It's like you go to most shows, it has nothing to do with us, I'm telling you, man. It's the direction in which the show is steered from the viewers, the listeners. Because you tune into stuff, man, I'll be honest with you, man. There's the trivia questions and this and just the filler, How was your weekend? The first 20 minutes of the show is, here's what I did this weekend. I'm going, who the hell woke up this morning and said, I want to listen to some Packers talk? Let's see what everybody did this weekend. I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. So I love the fact that that you recognize that, Chris. And again, the food favorites. Oh, my God, that's what drives me. Listen, ain't nobody loves food more than this guy right here. I'm just telling you. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you. Food is the only reason Clayton doesn't do drugs. That's my famous line. I'm just telling you. Food is my drug. But when I tune in to listen to a sports podcast, I do not want to hear people talk about their food takes and their Mount Rushmores and everything else. Just, So appreciate the compliment there, Chris. And I know it was a compliment meant for the chat mainly, and I completely agree, man. We got some awesome viewers in here. So let's talk about the United Bates. I do like seeing Emilio's lawn cuts. So
that's a Patreon special. To see that, you need to join the Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access.
And if you don't want to pay the $3, you can just Google lawn cuts, and you'll probably find some of the images that Emilio's posting in there.
Come on.
So anyway, I'm just kidding, man. He straps them up pretty nice. He spends a lot more time strapping them up than I do. I'm about 12 years into this program, and I'm just like, that's good enough. If you don't like it, find somebody else. It'll be fun. You'll probably save money too. So let's talk about the benefits to the teammates. This is something that when you bring in an iconic player, right, whether it was Brett Favre back in the day and how his teammates absolutely loved him, or it's Aaron Rodgers, a more brash but very demanding, making sure that everybody on that offense had their I's dotted and their T's crossed. And like, if you screw up, I'm going to burn your ass in front of everybody on this field. I'll tell you another one that was like that too, Bart Starr. Obviously that was before my time, but hearing the stories, I remember one specific story. They said, I think it was Jerry Kramer talking about on America's Game, said that this one pass rusher, I can't remember, it might have been for the Colts, I think, kept getting back in the backfield and hitting Bart Starr. And Bart Starr, Tim, gentleman, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, this dude is just the salt of the earth guy. Jerry Kramer said he turned around and looked at that lineman and he said his name. He said, listen, if so-and-so gets in this backfield one more time, I'm going to kick you right in the ass in front of all these people. Like, that's how he jumped on. So Bart Starr had that kind of Aaron Rodgers-esque to him as well, right? So you get players like that. Donald Driver. Think of all the young receivers that played alongside Donald Driver. If you think for a second that your Greg Jennings, your Jordy Nelsons, your James Jones, those guys didn't take stuff from Donald Driver and learning from him, obviously being a 7th-round pick and just overachieving his entire NFL career. You get these kind of players. You get these players in your organization, and it really trickles into their, the teammates across the room, right? So let's see the benefits of the teammates segment here that it pulled up. Edge rushers like Rashawn Gary reduces double teams, chips, and thumps on Gary, creating more one-on-one opportunities for the defensive line. The funny thing there is, I've been listening to Packer podcasters tell me for the last year and a half that Gary sucks and nobody's double teaming him. So it's hilarious that.
Oh, didn't you know that, Clay? Gary's just, brutal. He just doesn't know he can't get past the tight end, right?
Yeah. And now all of a sudden the conversation has shifted to, well, if Gary does have a 10-sack season, it's only because we brung in Micah. Hold up a minute. If he gets a 10-sack season, that means he's not getting double teamed anymore.
I guess to some people, no matter what he does, that's just never going to be enough, apparently.
There you go. That's it, bub. That's it. You got it. Secondary, faster quarterback releases due to pressure, easing coverage. Packers ranked 13th in pressure percentage last season. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Because when you mention we were 8th in sacks, right? You're 8th in sacks. They say, well, that's because you got the majority of your sacks against 3 bad teams. Okay. How did we finish 13th in pressure percentage? I mean, you're right there on the cusp of being top 10. in pressure percent. Anyway, I digress. But Parsons' addition should improve this. Parsons tells DBs he's, quote, did y'all hear this quote earlier this week? Parsons said to the DBs, he's going to make them a lot of money, as he always had Pro Bowl / All-Pro corners. Emilio, he's talking that game, dude. Like, listen, ball's going to come out quick. Some of you guys about to get paid some money. Y'all going to look really good on tape now. Pretty cool.
Yeah, if you can break on the ball. If you can break on it, if you can read them, if you can stay in their hip pocket, we're going to be fine. Because if you can cover long enough, I'll get a sack, and if I can get there quick enough, you'll get a pick. That's bottom line.
Covered sack, baby.
All we need.
Yeah, Aaron, you guys don't let me forget to highlight Aaron Rodgers' comment. I got it highlighted, but we need to hit it before we wrap up because I want to see what he sent me. I'm so excited about CBS doing that live from Lambeau. It's going to be absolutely
awesome. That's going to be sweet.
Yep, I'll check it out. Like I said, we'll wrap the show up with it. Appreciate you, Aaron. Let's see here. So, Tim, you got anything to add there to the secondary? I think that's absolutely awesome. Obviously, like we said, pressure fit, coverage sack, right?
Yep. And, we've got ball hawks back there, young ball hawks. Carrington Valentine, the first name that comes to mind. That's a name I've thrown around without hesitation. I thought he had an excellent camp as well this year. Going to get a chance to probably get some more looks, especially if, Hobbs is going to be limited or not in the lineup for all we know. But when you've got Micah firing up guys like that, they're going to respond. And, I think about Evan Williams, Xavier McKinney. I mean, it's the whole back end of this defense. If they play to the best of their capabilities, they're going to get plays. I wonder if Micah was talking about making them a lot of money in the sense of like their contract bonuses for
Absolutely.
like picks and stuff like that. So you got to love it, especially when, the second highest paid player on your team, basically says that to you from day one when he sets foot on the ground. You got to respect that. So I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I think what he's referring to too there, Tim, is probably multifaceted, right? But I think what he's saying is when they get tired of getting hit, they're going to start forcing the ball out a lot sooner. And the sooner that ball comes out, these corners are going to be in position to pick some passes off. And you'll turn – I mean, it's no coincidence, right, Emilio? You kind of follow the Cowboys. Your dad's a big Cowboys fan, right? Was it Bland, am I thinking right, that had all the interceptions? Why do you think he had those – you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure he's a great player, but, Yeah,
because you had Diggs on the other side. He had a great year one year. Then you had Bland had a great year. And you had a couple different coordinators in between that time as well. So, you're asking them to do different things. You man zone, all this. What was the consistent thing was those corners and Micah were there. You're forcing all of that. And Clay, I was going to ask you, do you think him having one, like unlocking one for Micah, do you think that puts more of a target on his back or anything like that? Or more of, anything that just because no one's had the number one before, it was to Curly. You bring in a superstar, you give him that option to wear that number one, and you move forward.
Do I think it'll put a target on his back?
Yeah, any more than he already has.
No, I don't. I think that the thing that trumps everything in that regard is the player that Micah is and that speed rusher that he is. Teams already know who he is, right? And these offensive linemen, they know when they go up against him. Like, Brian Bulaga was talking about, I think he was the offensive tackle when the Bears traded for Khalil Mack, and he was going to be, forced to block him that week. And he said, I'll never forget. He said when they traded for Khalil Mack right before that week, that it was actually the week of that game, Bulaga was like, oh, great. Okay. I went from I'm going to be blocking this guy. I've been studying his tape to now I got to block one of the best pass rushers in the game. Right. So I don't think it puts more of a target on him, Emilio, but I think it is awesome that all of a sudden, like, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. It feels like in the public eye, Jordan Love has kind of been the face of the franchise, right? They gave him the contract. He's the franchise QB. He's the face of the Packers right now. We love Josh Jacobs. We love Rashawn Gary. We love Edgerrin Cooper, but Jordan's kind of been the face. Micah is kind of – and, you're talking about it putting maybe extra pressure or target on Micah's back. The positive to that, or as Mike McCarthy would say, positive, is it takes that target off of Jordan Love a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, now there's like, okay.
A little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, right. And he can go out there and be his own be himself, I guess you could say. I don't know. That's kind of how I see it. What do you think about that question, Tim? Do you think Micah got kind of the target on his back? The number one, all the buzz. He came out talking trash too, man. I'm digging it. It's a good change of pace, I think.
I love it because, much like I've said before, there's nothing wrong with talking the talk if you can walk the walk, right? And clearly Mike is a dude that's going to walk the walk. And you can kind of see it too, the whole locker room kind of galvanizing around him ever since he got here. So I would agree with that sentiment. That kind of takes a little bit of that limelight and pressure off of J Love a little bit, maybe, at least in the public eye. But I don't think just going to number one is going to put a target on his back. It is, kind of unprecedented, right? Almost 100 years. Nobody's worn that number here.
Yeah.
But I think that's, that's a bigger deal to us diehard Packer fans, right? I don't think guys league-wide are going to be, gunning for him. It's not that big of a deviation from the number he used to wear. I think it was classy that he didn't walk in here and, ask Jaden Reed to give up his number. That was cool. So I'm happy with how it turned out. And we all know that was, unofficially Curly's number. And that's why they said unofficially for so long, right? So I'm happy to see Micah Parsons wear number one for sure.
Yeah. Completely agree. Team optimism, high excitement within the organization. Hafley calls Parsons an elite rusher and great teammate. Gary says the defense will be, quote, scary for opponents due to pieces, mindsets, and Parsons' addition. The defense was already one of the NFL's best, and Parsons should elevate it further. As I'm reading that, and you're reading all these, how it's going to impact the corners, how it's going to impact that, it's easy to forget that we got Xavier freaking McKinney back there too. And I'll tell you another player that I would not be surprised if he just has a breakout year. Evan Williams.
Yes.
He had a great year last year. Great year. And now he's got a full year of Hafley's scheme under his belt. This dude, man, he's liable to emerge just as good as Xavier McKinney in the secondary, right? And if Bullard truly has taken that step, like it's being reported out of camp, man, this is exciting. And again, it doesn't mean there's not going to be – guys, listen, the Packers are not going undefeated, okay? Mm-hmm. You hear us talk about these things and people, oh, boy, they're locked for the Super Bowl. Some might feel like that, and that's totally cool. I've got my win total. I'm going to go ahead and bump it up. I was saying 10-13, 11-14 is where I've got our range. I think the floor is, and this is barring catastrophic injury concerns, right? Like if you get 3 or 4 key players, I'm talking about the best players on your roster go down, throw the record out the window. It is what it is. But I think we're in that range of 11-14 wins. How cool would it be if the Packers, Matt LaFleur, could get his first 14-win season on the way to making a run at the Lombardi, man? That would be absolutely awesome.
I would love it. Tupac LaFleur, baby. Let's go.
Sign me up. I'll take
All
it.
Gas, no break.
I said, the Packers aren't going undefeated, and Respect Oranges came in here, hit me with
how dare you?
So it is what it is. Respect Oranges. Sorry to upset you, bud. All right. So anything else on Micah Parsons? Anything at all? I'm gonna go pull that up. What he was talking about. What our Aaron Rodgers was talking about.
I just got one more thing on Micah Parsons.
He was the best guy around.
And he still is.
On Tucker's interview on the Packers YouTube, he did mention 3rd year in a row we're the youngest team in the NFL, and that teams want to try to take advantage of that. He said, but this team, just the way they're approaching it, the way they're building it, he said he thinks it's different this year. But that's just crazy. 3 years in a row, the youngest team in the league. And we got younger by trading Kenny and bringing Micah in, which is also insane. So let's make a run.
And Emilio, they got better this year. There's no denying. Adding Aaron Banks, adding Nate Hobbs, right? You can say, well, we lost Jair. We lost Jair last year. He wasn't healthy, right? It is what it is. Jordan Love, no longer injured, right? His knee's fine. He's back healthy. And now you add Micah Parsons. On top of that, you got a first-round wide receiver for the first time since 2002, whatever it was. Like, this team got better. There's no denying that. Yeah. No denying that. So here is what Aaron sent over via Twitter. This was Matt Ramage's IG, I believe, that he posted. So there is where they've got the CBS stage set up, literally right underneath the Curly.
Oh, it's going to be packed. Everybody up the steps. They're going to have on camera. Oh, that's going to be wild. Tim,
It's
you're
gonna
going to
fill
get
up.
out there to start jumping around?
We'll see if we can make our way over to that mosh pit that's going to be over there for sure.
Tim's going to be throwing elbows.
Tim said, "I'm still thankful whoever took this picture didn't go back 10 feet. They would see my tent back there." That's awesome, Aaron.
I think it's cool, man. I think I'm sure people can kind of like maybe stagger up the stairs there a little bit. Maybe put your butt down on the steps and get to kind of see from the back there. It's probably going to be tough to get around the front of the stage when they're filming, but that is something I haven't seen done over there.
It's awesome,
at least not recently. So this will be pretty cool.
Listen, I've always been a Fox NFL guy. I prefer Fox over CBS. Now, it doesn't mean I don't like CBS. I grew up listening to John Madden, Pat Summerall on Fox. It's nostalgia overload, right? But if they're going to continue to do this and go live on set every week, they've got me hooked. This is awesome. I don't care where the stadium is, just to get into that atmosphere. There's nothing better than it for sure. And Aaron, thank you for sending that picture over. Also, good Wi-Fi connection, bad mobile connection, and make sure you charge your damn battery, Bob. Got to charge that battery. You know what I'm saying?
Congrats on the new gig too, by the way.
I do what?
He's got a new gig, man. He's doing some media coverage.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's gonna be great. You can tell he's passionate about it. He messages me more than anybody, and very, very knowledgeable fan. Again, when you got it here, when you got it in your heart, football, everything's going to fall into place if you want to be in the media. Because you see some of these people, you could tell they don't like football. It's just their job, and if they make it to the
worst.
Yeah. They're the worst. We need to clip that. So one last thing here before we wrap up. This is the playoff percentage, okay, according to Polymarket. Actually, let me see if I can get that adjusted a little bit for you guys, maybe make it a little bit easier here.
Playoffs?
So according to Polymarket, they're trying to get me to promote this tweet. I don't want to do that, man. Get that off my screen. Thank you, sir. So according to Polymarket, the Packers have a 64% chance of making the playoffs. That's seventh highest in the NFL. I asked everybody what they thought. So the highest number here is the Buffalo Bills at 87%, Baltimore Ravens 83%, Philadelphia Eagles 81%, Kansas City Chiefs 78%, although they're looking pretty dookie cheeks right now. San Francisco 49ers 65%.
No,
Detroit
not
Lions.
that team. They're not getting the Mark Murphy drop. Sorry.
Or Detroit Lions either, right,
Nope.
Tim? Nope.
Nope.
I'm with you. Hey, I respect it. And you got Detroit Lions at 65% as well, and then the Green Bay Packers at 64%. That's only 1% short of you know what, though, Tim.
Absolutely. That's true. And I guess we can hit it for the Packers then, right? I mean, it seems fair.
65%.
65%. That's what do y'all think about that, man? I mean, when you look at it, you're talking about the seventh highest playoff chances in terms of playoff percentage here, according to Polymarket. What do y'all think?
We're not under the radar anymore, right? Young team or not. I think it's slowly becoming evident to everyone that they can't sleep on this Matt LaFleur-led Packers team. And I would have had them a little higher, but I'm not an expert or anything. And I do know when we look at these kind of breakdowns and these percentages, things are going to change very quickly once we get to the meat and potatoes of the season, right? You start getting to that halfway point of the season. You're going to have a few teams that might surprise you. Number one, I'm looking at where's Denver on this chart?
They are at 55%, Tim.
55. Okay, there they are. See, that's a team that could go up or down. Maybe teams that are going to not be, like you mentioned, Kansas City doesn't look so hot right now. Starting off their year. So who's to see where we'll be, kind of near the halfway point. But it is kind of interesting to see that we're up there with, the upper echelon of the league here going into this season, which is right where we belong. But we've got to remember that now we're not just the young kids that nobody really knows about. I think the league's kind of slowly kind of been put on notice here, on especially landing Micah Parsons at Straubel Airport. That didn't help too much to keep things quiet, right, as far as the hype for the Packers. So I love it, man.
Same, yeah. And like you said, Tim, a lot of fluctuation that can happen. I look at the Rams, too. If Matt Stafford's back is anything worse than they're trying to not play it up to be, I think that they could have a rough season. But, it's all about what you do when you get on the field. Week one's right around the corner. I think they're going to get to it.
Yep.
Definitely. HTE in the chat says, I live 30 minutes away from Levi Stadium. 49ers fans have been in shambles all off season. So very interesting there. Again, man, they've got a lot of talent on that roster, but they've lost a lot of talent too. And can they stay healthy? That's the big thing with them. So I do love the fact that Chicago's at 33%, though. Isn't it funny? Bears fans, we're through there. They always win the offseason, right? And it's like the closer you get to the regular season, it's slowly the buzz starts to die down, right? It starts to die down. I wanted to get into this Caleb Williams article a little bit, but we're out of time. If you guys – why don't we try to hit – I don't know if we're not going to do it for a pregame show, obviously. You guys go check it out. Let me know. Tyler Dunn did an article on Caleb Williams, right? And I did a quick breakdown of the article. Just had AI like, hey, give me some bullet points on this. Let me know what's in it or whatever. And it's very, very interesting. You guys know that I've talked about Caleb Williams since they drafted him. Elite arm talent, but the dude just doesn't seem to – he doesn't seem to process fast, right? He takes sacks out the yin yang. And I remember that sounded bad. Somebody gonna clip that. So I remember Greg Cosell talking about typically players who take a lot of sacks in college take a lot of sacks throughout their NFL career. It's just something they just hold on to the ball, right? They can't process quick enough. It's a very, very interesting article. You guys go read it. Let me know what y'all think. I know Bears fans are saying it's all anti-Chicago Bears and this and that. It's the same guy who put the article together about Aaron Rodgers and Goody having a fallout, and we know that ended up being true, right? As Matt Schneiden actually recently uncovered and said Aaron Rodgers told him one-on-one he hated Goody. So we pretty much got it from multiple sources. There was a rift there, right? So, but anyway, go check it out. Let me know what y'all think. I've been kind of diving into it. It's very, very, very interesting for sure. So Greg Rice says, I heard the article says he is not a hard worker. Yeah, it's pretty much that in a nutshell, but also –
What do you mean? I saw him at McDonald's last week. He was working hard, man.
He had the patty on my McDouble absolutely perfectly centered, man.
McDouble with mac, add mac sauce. Have to. What are you doing? You have to add the mac.
You add – wait a minute. What? You add the mac sauce to what?
To the McDouble. You get 2 McDoubles, add mac, and you take the bottom
Is this
bun.
breaking news?
You take the bottom buns off both of them, and you slap the 2 burgers together, Clay.
With Big Mac sauce?
Yeah, you say, give me a McDouble with mac sauce, please, and thank you. ×2, Caleb.
See, now listen, I'm not crazy about the Mac sauce, but I do love Big Macs. I do. All right.
There's
However,
too much bread on a Big Mac. You're not getting enough. That's why you get the McDouble with the mac sauce, Clay, and you just enjoy it all.
I'm gonna try it. I might try it tomorrow.
So please do. And just real quick, I did see that the NFL actually shipped a sewing field stitcher down to Brazil to stitch some fiber into the field prior to the game. So
imagine that. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes going down there.
The Chiefs are playing down there.
Don't know how that happens. Don't know how it happens.
Unbelievable, man. It's a national outrage. All right. Let's get out of here, boys. Thank y'all for your time. This was fun, man. I'm glad we got the show in. And no show tomorrow. I know the guys are somewhat busy. I'm going to be out of town. So we'll be back on Sunday morning. Well, Sunday about what time here? The game kicks off at 3:30 Central, right, Tim?
3:25 Central. Yep.
Okay. So we will go live. Why don't we make a commitment to go live, let's say at 2 p.m. Central. That sound good? I know Tim's going to be boots on the ground. He may be able to call in, but he's going to be taking it all in.
I might be back at the home studio here in time, so maybe I can jump on live with you guys by 2. We'll see.
After he gets out of the game day atmosphere, he's going to be in the mosh pit for a while.
Ain't no way I would leave that atmosphere to come talk to these knuckleheads. I wouldn't do it. Emilio, you going to be awake, man?
Let's see. I don't know. It depends on how many Dynasty games I play tonight.
I'm going to give Tom Holman a call. That way he can come by and knock on the window, wake you up.
Good morning.
Good morning, buddy. Oh, man. Nah, it'll be fun, though. So me and Emilio will be doing a pregame show. I think Jacob will be in here, too. I believe he said.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then Tim will be over there soaking up the atmosphere. So it's going to be a blast. So anyway, that's it, guys. Thank y'all so much in the chat. If you would hit that like button, hit subscribe. If you were new here, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Make sure you click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live. We'll take tomorrow off. Everybody will enjoy college football. And then we will be back for a pregame show and a postgame show, all geared around what happens with the Packers-Detroit Lions game. So everybody have a wonderful evening. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack, go.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.